Hey everybody, I'm here today to tell you how to be better at math. That's right, you can be better at math with these 6 simple tips that I'm going to tell you. These aren't just basic tips, these are useful tips that work if you put them into practice on a daily basis. Now let's get right to it. That brings us to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is practice. If you want to improve at anything in life, you have to practice. So if you want to improve at math especially, you have to practice. We're not simply born knowing math, so we have to understand math, and in order to understand math we have to practice. It's like walking, it's like talking, it's like doing anything, playing soccer, playing any sport, learning an instrument. They all require practice. Math is no different. If you want to improve your shot at soccer, you have to practice for an hour a night at least. If you want to improve at math, you have to practice for an hour a night at least. So if you want to be better at math, if you truly want to be better at math, and I'm assuming that you do because you're watching this video, tip number 1 is practice as much as you can, okay? Every day. Tip number 2 is look at errors. You want to make sure that you look at the errors that you've received on a math test or on a math question that you did. If you didn't get it right, then you have to look at your errors. Don't just accept them for face value. Don't just say, I got it wrong. Why did you get it wrong? And what can you do to get it right next time? Because when you identify the reason that you got it wrong, then you're going to be in a better position to identify what you can do next time to get it right. So tip number 2 is look at your errors. Tip number 3 is create a math dictionary. Now math, although it's about numbers, is full of words that if you hear them for the first time, you might not know what they mean. And when you hear them for the second or third time, they're still fresh in your mind. So whenever you hear a new math word, you want to write it down in a math dictionary that you have created. And that will allow you to keep track of those words. Because if you're doing a problem-solving question and you don't understand the word behind that problem-solving question, then it's going to be hard for you to actually solve it. So you need to know what the words mean. I know math is mainly about numbers, but it's about words quite often, and you should be knowing the words that you see. So create a math dictionary and write down the words that you are discovering in that math dictionary, along with the definitions, okay? Tip number 4 is use math in real-world situations. One of the best ways for you to practice math is to actually use it in a real-world situation. The next time that you go to the grocery store and you have to buy 3 cans of tuna at 50 cents each, you can multiply 3 times 50 and figure out that it's 150. Then you can figure out the conversion from 150 cents into dollars, which would be $1.50. So what I mean is, like in the real world, there are tons of situations that you can practice math in, and that will greatly help you improve your math skills and be better at math. So tip number 4, once again, is to use math in the real world. Tip number 5 is you want to get the basic skills down, okay? Like literally addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are super important to know and to understand. You should be practicing those 4 basic skills until you know them inside out, okay? You should be able to multiply all of the numbers in the multiplication table from 1 times 1 until 10 times 10. You should be able to divide all of the whole numbers, all of the whole numbers that are like less than 3 digits. You should be able to add and subtract any digits, whether it's 1 digit or 7 digits long on paper, okay? You should be able to do those things inside and out. And if you can't, then that means you have to practice. So tip number 5 is get the basic skills down as nicely and precisely as you can. Last but not least, tip number 6 is know how to do the things that the calculator is doing before you actually use the calculator. So if you put 6 times 5 in a calculator and it says 30, but you don't know how to multiply, then just because you got the answer of 30 doesn't mean that you know how to get to the answer. You know how to press the buttons on the calculator, but the calculator was the thing that did the math for you. So if you want to use a calculator, then know what the calculator is doing first. So before you type in 6 times 5 on a calculator, know that how to multiply numbers, okay? And then if you're just using a calculator just to save you time and you already know how to do it, that is totally fine in my opinion. But if you're using a calculator sort of as a crutch because you don't know how to do the multiplication, then it's only going to hurt you. It's only going to hinder you, not hurt you, but hinder you later on when the math skills get even harder and more intense. So with that being said, you should be using a calculator only when you already know how to do the mathematical, process behind what the calculator is doing. And that's basically it. In this video, I have told you how to be better at math with 6 useful tips that actually work. You have to use these tips on a daily basis, and they will work for you. They will allow you to improve at math and get better at math. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what your tips are for being better at math and getting better at math in the comments section down below. And above all, please be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.